Middle East analyst Laura Blumenfeld joins us from the Philip Merrill Center for Strategic Studies at Johns Hopkins School for Advanced International Studies. What do you think of this plan?
Well, I think there's tremendous potential and there are pitfalls. It's certainly a breakthrough, at least for Israel. They accomplished their main goals. Number one, release the hostages. Number two, defeat Hamas. And number three, they finally have a day after plan, which does not, point to a guaranteed Palestinian state or Palestinian Authority rule, which were two conditions that Netanyahu was really fighting against. It creates performance-bound conditions for those things to happen rather than time-bound. So when you hear Netanyahu saying to the UN, we're not going to have a state shoved down our throats, that's exactly what he means, and that's exactly what he was reassured about today at the White House.
OK, you suggest it's good for Israelis. Will it be good for Palestinians?
Well, the Arab and Islamic world apparently think so. I mean, so far, 8 Arab and Islamic foreign ministers have said that they welcome the plan and they're willing to work with the U.S. administration to implement it. It's not just Israel's, sort of traditional peace partners, although they kind of have cold relations with most of the world, the Islamic world. It's not just UAE and Egypt and Jordan, but it's countries like Qatar, Pakistan, and Turkey. So I think that that's significant. We're still waiting to hear what Hamas says about it. But it looks like, the pressure is on, and hopefully the Hamas side will accept the deal, because if not, what Trump has indicated is a green light for Israel to go back in and, quote, finish the job, which would certainly be ugly.
So what about the people of Gaza themselves? What does their future look like under this plan?
Well, under Trump's plan, it's all about, rebuilding. He calls Gaza a demilitarized, terror-free zone. Because it's President Trump, I'm sure he's thinking about a tax-free zone, because he is certainly focused on commercial development. Not that Gaza ever could be a Riviera. Khan Yunis will never be Khan. But the very important point that was made today was that there will be no relocation of Palestinians, no annexation or settlement by Israelis. So the plan that was laid out today was filled with kind of red lines and green lights. And for Israel, a red line that was set down by Trump and reinforced by countries in the Gulf like UAE, which Trump is eager to please and do business with, was that there should be no annexation of Gaza to Israel and no annexation of the West Bank while we're at it, so that they can keep a credible pathway, and that's the word, pathway, open toward Palestinian, national statehood, hopefully, ultimately.
And the effectiveness of a temporary governing board, including former British Prime Minister Tony Blair and headed by Trump himself.
Right. Trump says that he'll be the chairman of the Board of Peace. That's good, because it means he has buy-in and skin in the game. When I worked on the Israeli-Palestinian negotiating team at the State Department under President Obama, I would go to the region and talk to the Palestinians and the Israelis about making concessions for peace and the trade-offs and the benefits. And they would look at me and they'd say, why should we, make trade-offs and concessions when we don't think your own president is actually interested? He's more interested in an Iran deal than a deal with the Palestinians. So the fact that President Trump is putting his name on it and that the Arab states have kind of given it their kosher stamp of approval, I think it has an opportunity to succeed.
Yeah, you mentioned all of these Arab states being on board, including countries that have been big financial backers of the militant group Hamas. Does Trump have Hamas in a corner?
Well, I think the most interesting thing that happened today was what we didn't actually see, but we heard about, which is a phone call that President Trump arranged between Prime Minister Netanyahu and Qatar, the Prime Minister of Qatar. And they've been the chief financial backers of Hamas. The fact that what emerged from that meeting was they called it a kind of trilateral mechanism with America, Israel, and Qatar to work out any potential conflict in the future means that Trump is trying to get Qatar to change teams from being on Team Hamas to Team really gold pot of the Gulf, redeveloping the region. And I think he's really pressing on the economic button, which can get us there, then that's terrific.
And Laura, the other thing is that these peace deals or ceasefires have taken months sometimes of negotiations. How long could it be until there's some sort of relief for the people of Gaza?
Absolutely. And that's one of the pitfalls. That's one of my concerns, frankly, is that the negotiations get dragged out. President Biden presented a three-point plan, and it took 8 months to lead to a ceasefire and a hostage release. This is a 20-point plan. And as one of my coworkers, one of my colleagues on the Israeli negotiating team when I was at the State Department quipped, he said, the only plans that work in the Middle East are one-point plans. But if we can get to that release of the hostages, which are supposed to happen within 72 hours of the ceasefire taking effect, then you would flood the region, flood Gaza with aid. At least that will begin to bring some relief, which is desperately needed.
Laura Blumenfeld of Johns Hopkins University, thank you very much for your analysis.
Thank you.